I decided from that day forward, if I ever got my together, he would never beat me again, ever.
I met a gypsy.
Well, I think it's something as well, like the fact that you went to public school until you were 16. Like, no one would have given a about your dirt bikes. Like,
yeah,
you
no.
would like it, because school was ruthless for me, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I had like a bunch of school fights and played school footy, and it was just like, as soon as class was out, it was just who could survive the verbal and physical beatings that were gonna go down by, like, it was just a zoo, you know?
It is, man. And I think, all of us people that went to public school, like, that's just how it was. But like I said, no one even knew who I was, like, as far as the dirt bike. Like, all my friends came from just because of who I was. And I remember I was always a small guy, and especially high school, like middle school and stuff, it isn't too bad. But high school, like PE, like, we would box every day in the locker room. And then, like, when we transitioned to, like, weight training, and dude, I was weak. Like, I'm small. Like, I pretty much got verbally abused. Like, I was a verbal punching bag for people because of my bench press or because of my squat. Like, I was just so, like you said, it's what it was. Like, that was life. Like, unfortunately, and it's not real bullying, but it's just like you said, banter and, like, talking crap. And that's just what school was with the boys. And, whether it was over sports or a girl or whatever, like, you're talking crap. And that's just the generation that I grew up in, and like yourself probably grew up in, and probably 80% or 90% of people that did go to public school. And I wouldn't have it any other way, because like I said, I look back and those were some of the funnest times of my life. And growing up that way is what I couldn't imagine doing anything else. Like, man, it was fun.
Yeah, and you do, like, in the moment, I hated school. Like, when I was there, I could not wait to leave that place. Like, I showed up, we got, like, super drunk the last, like, before we got our graduation certificates. They made like this huge deal about, you will not get your graduation unless you show up to this last day. So we were like, all right, we're gonna show up wasted, like, just smelling like booze. So, like, I couldn't wait to get out of there. But now I look back at it and I'm like, I couldn't imagine not dealing with the that I had to deal with as a kid. Like, it was almost like traumatic, but it's like that trauma builds so much character, like, my life would have been so much easier if I didn't go to school. But now that I'm an adult, I'm like, I don't know if easy's the move.
No, easy's not the move, man. It's I'm all for peaks and valleys, like you said. But I agree, like, the schoolwork itself was so painful, and, like, just having to do it. I struggled, honestly, with learning, that way and that style too. So it was a little harder on me, but my mom was a teacher, so that definitely helped. But like you said, like, just especially once you got your license, like, school was the coolest thing ever, like, I had a moto van, and just going into, I was a sophomore, so I wasn't really that cool because I'm young, but had a speaker in my van and just bumping it, and, like, man, it was just like, it's fun to look back and think of, or going to the football games and with your friends. And it's cool because I still have a bunch of friends from my hometown and school that same kind of thing. They know I'm famous or whatever they want to call it for back home, and have done well with my career, but they treat me the exact same, and are just good dudes, so I'm super blessed to have brought up in that environment. And like I said, obviously it wasn't easy, and with my family or with my friends or whatever the case was, it definitely wasn't easy, and I could have went a million different ways with maybe distractions or whatever the case you want to call it. But I knew what my parents taught me as a kid, and had those good morals, and it all worked out really well.
Dude, you're so right. Getting your license is probably like the dopest year of your life, or like 2 years. Because I didn't think about it like that, but I would always tell people, like, so we don't call it, like, we call it just like middle school and high school, like primary, middle, high school. I didn't enjoy school until like the end of year 10 and 11 and 12.
Yeah, exactly.
But that was when I got my license, dude. And we were just like, we were having the sickest house parties back then too. Like, and that just, I remember feeling sorry for my brother because the house parties just like kind of weren't the same. But like we had house parties where people would like find out when people went on holidays and then like break into their house and have like these parties in these people's houses while they're on holidays, and no one had any idea that they didn't own the houses until like after the party. You'd have like this 2-weekend party house where you're just like, where the fuck has this place been the entire time? And then you have two of the dopest parties, and then that place never is open again.
Yeah, it was similar. You know, like it was funny for me. I didn't actually drink until I won my first ever 250 championship. So for me as a kid, I would go to all the house parties. I'd be around the drinking and smoking or whatever, but that's when I actually started to gain popularity because I would be the DD. I had this big van. I had a couch in it. Like everyone could just ride with me there, and same things. Like we would find these, grew up on the beach, and we would find like these Airbnbs or like rental properties or something that like we knew no one would be in. And like you said, it's just, when you look back, like, man, it's so bad. And like, I would hate for my daughter now to hear me saying this, but like, man, it really was fun. And just, like I said, I think maybe growing up that way, but also knowing what the right and wrong was and making those decisions of like when to be responsible and when to not, and knowing that if I wasn't, that, you know, you were going to get punished and stuff was really cool. And like I said, I'm glad that, and that's what I told Adam, I'm like, dude, I couldn't imagine like getting punished for not riding good that day or something. Like I got punished for getting a C in school or like being home past my 10 o'clock curfew. Like, and he's like, oh no, like I got in trouble if I, you know, went over like a 2-minute lap time. I'm like, yeah, maybe I didn't want all that as a kid.
Well, man, it's funny. Like, I bet there was a massive part of you that was like seriously jealous of AC, and like it probably caused you like actual pain as a kid. That you know, like now that you've got perspective on it, then you probably go like, oh, I'm kind of glad it worked out the way that it did. But dude, 14-year-old, like 12, 13, 14-year-old Cooper Webb probably hated his life because of AC.
Yeah, it was tough in the sense of just the riding. You know, like I said, I was probably 13 or 14 when I really was like, you know what, I want to be a pro moto guy, and this is what I want to do. And like, I saw there was value in it. Like it was going to be rewarding financially, or like that's what I wanted to do. Was I saw what my talent was. So what was tough was like my dad owned a surf shop, and so he would be working nonstop, but me and my mom were on the same schedule because she was a teacher. So we would get out of school at 3:30, and then that was the time that we had to go to his shop. We would load our setup up. It was like her SUV pulling a little single trailer with one motorcycle, and we would haul butt, drive 45 minutes to our local track that, you know, hasn't been worked on in a month. And we got there at 4:30, and with daylight savings, we got to ride until 5. And once it got dark, like, it's over, you know? And so that was my training. You know, that was my weekly, like we would go twice a week because it was all we could maybe afford in gas or whatever. And like, that's what we did. And then as soon as Friday after school hit, we're driving to a race, and we're racing all day Saturday, all day Sunday, coming back home and starting the grind over again, you know, like with school. And so it was tough for me because, like you said, in the sense of looking back, I'm glad I lived the childhood that I did live, or the amateur experience I did live. But when I would go to some of these amateur nationals and maybe get beat or not be as good as maybe I could because I'm just simply not riding enough, or like I remember thinking like in my own head, like my mom's taking me to the track, like, yeah, it's great and I appreciate it and I love it, but like these kids have mechanics and like they're with at least their dads or whatever, to where I'm like in this kind of ghetto ass setup, like unloading my bike and just being like, damn it, like, all right, mom, let me help you unload the bike, like, to where everyone else might have mechanics, or they're, like I said, at the time, like, AC would be on a Super Mini riding with freaking Villapoto. Like, you just see it on YouTube and you're like, this is the kid I got to race? Like, are you joking? So, yeah.
We're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, gypsytales.com, packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang.